Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be discussing all things overseas. What's the hype about? Why are they so popular? Why are they so expensive? Why are there so many of them? And what's the real story? Hey, guess what? I'm advertising some stuff. Follow the link in the description or at the end of the video, not the ads during the video, for any of your bowling needs at Bowler's Mart. Supporting them supports me, and don't forget my code Rosdahl10 the next time you go to order anything at CoolWick to get 10% off. They're the ones that keep stuff like this coming. So what's the whole obsession with overseas balls? I'm going to show nothing but overseas balls in this video just because they're pretty. There's not really anything I'm trying to illustrate. So first of all, overseas balls are usually just playing Mr. Potato Head with a lot of different stuff. And if you've ever said, I really wish they'd put this cover on this core, it's probably been done overseas. The international market is different because in a lot of places it's considered poor form or disrespectful to copy someone else. Here in the States, if you see someone doing well with a certain ball or like the way it rolls, you naturally want to go buy one yourself. However, if you did that overseas, that's considered rude or dishonorable. So that's the major driving factor behind why there are so many balls overseas. There have been many versions of the High Road and High Road Pearl over there, for example. Just changing the name to High Road 300 or High Road T or High Road Pursuit and then changing the colors and scents separates it enough from the regular High Road Pearl to get the same ball reaction idea while retaining the individuality. Over here in the States, however, popularity is driven by single balls like the Zen, for example. Everyone has been on that bandwagon for the better part of a year now, but culturally there's no issue with that. If you see someone else doing well with something and you want it, you're just going to go get it. Otherwise, you might feel like you're missing out and you want to experience what everyone else is experiencing. The twist this offers is that in overseas balls, you get a lot of dream matchups or cover and core combinations you won't ever see here in the States. They're going to cost you though, and the vast majority of that cost is just shipping. It's not because the ball's supposed to be better or because they're charging a premium because it's limited, rare, or otherwise. Overseas releases are made in a lot smaller batches, and depending on how popular it is, that can inflate the cost or the value because of the demand down the road, however. A lot of retired cores or lines that have ran their course here end up continuing overseas, such as the Lock and Marvel series, while popular lines over here have had numerous releases internationally like the High Road and Phase lines. Another benefit, if you'd call it that, is that because releases come and go so quickly, they can be a little bit more bold or daring with names, colors, or the core and cover combos, because if they aren't really popular or successful, it's not that big of a deal. It's unfortunate here because they do have to consider public opinion and what's been successful in the past, so there are some things we don't get to see very often or even at all. I'm a huge fan of Roto's Microtrax Pearl, for example, which we're looking at now on the Halo Burn. We've never seen it here before on anything, and I'm also a fan of Storm's NRG Pearl, which we've only seen a couple times. When you think Pearl, you don't exactly think early and smooth, and generally smooth, shiny stuff isn't very popular here, though hopefully people are coming around on it with releases like the Zen. Overseas or international balls really just scratch the itch for collectors or people that are really into ball tech. While I wouldn't say that international stuff is better, I'm perfectly happy with what we have to offer here, there are additional things and looks offered overseas that we just don't have here. Better is completely relative, so it's just different equipment, but when you have extra options, there's naturally going to be more diversity. I find options like the Halo Burn and Marvel Max Force to be extremely helpful because the super strong shiny covers usually work for me, and they're unique because they tend to blend friction well and avoid burning up. I'm a big fan of the Parallax, for example. It's been incredibly helpful for me in higher friction centers when everything else is too sensitive. It blends the lanes, stays smooth, gives me a lot of control, doesn't quit or die, but it's a shiny ball that doesn't boom, so it wasn't popular. In another direction, if you were a fan of the Marvel series and want to have more, you can. They're still making them over there. Also, if you really like the Phase line and want more and would like to see how different covers work on that core, you can. It's also a really good way to understand just how important different cover stock formulas are. It's taught me quite a bit about ball reaction because of the number of options that are available, and being able to see the difference between the Halo Burn and Halo Pearl like I showed in a classroom video wouldn't have been a possibility otherwise because the Halo Burn cover has never been on a ball here. Unfortunately, however, I'm not sure it would have been popular here. It would have gotten a lot of bites because it's an incredible looking ball, but ultimately it's along the lines of the Parallax. It's not quite that early and smooth, but it's not an RSTX2 or a UC2 either. It always makes me chuckle when some complainer says that no bowling ball's worth $300 because I can pretty well guarantee they have some expensive, limited edition, rare, or in-demand item that's not technically worth what they paid for it either. I'm a fan of the overseas stuff. I have a small collection that I hope to eventually drill most or all of, but at the same time, I'm happy enough with the stateside stuff that I really just support or supplement it with the occasional overseas option at a tournament if I need the twist on a certain look. It's not a cheap hobby, but it's fun to have something unique that you're not going to see anyone else put on the rack, and occasionally I have the right look with something like a halo burn that might make the difference. That, and it's basically like abstract craft beer for bowling hipsters. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.